So the greenhouse used to sit right over there, like right in between there. Picked it up and I moved it over to here. Now I gotta fix it because I almost destroyed it trying to move it. But that's it. I'll give you an update when it's done. Got it moved and got the front on so far. Looking pretty good. Well, after I got it moved, I decided to start using some of the old fencing cedar that was left over from when they built the fence. I figured, since we moved the greenhouse and its view to the street, I wanted to give it a little bit more aesthetic look, and that's what I'm doing here. I basically took the the panels and cut them to fit, because it's not a square structure at all by any means, and I wanted it to give it kind of an old log cabin looking feel to it. And it's a small greenhouse, so in the daytime it could reach 100 degrees in there easy. I was hoping that this may cut down on the sun a little bit where it sits, to help me control the heat inside there. You can see here I'm trying to figure out how many more panels I need to get it to, I wanted it to be even at the very top as best I could. I knew the panels were going to be off a little bit going up the sides, so I decided to cut some small ones right there to fit inside there. And the plan along, was I was going to add a roof pitch to it on the front of it and kind of give it more of a rustic fairy tale look to it. So so far it's working out pretty well. Everything is eyeballed here. I'm not really measuring the distance between the siding. Pretty much eyeballing it all the way up. Now I'm using a nail gun it's a brad nailer, and it worked out really well for this project. I highly recommend, if you're going to do something small or creative like that you would do it, get a tool like that, because it does make your job a lot easier, and you're not having to use a hammer and some finishing nails. So it did work out really well. You can see here on this side I am basically shingling that side as well, and you can see there I'm removing the nails for when they use those boards to tie the strings. So I had about I think 10 of those boards. I used 5 on this project to cut and fit like I'm doing here. And it's a real simple process, a lot of walking back and forth. It would have been nice to be able to measure just one and then cut every one to that length, but because, like I said, the structure is not completely square, and all it is basically the greenhouse we bought, I think, at Big Lots for like $50, and it had a plastic liner that went over it. We used it for about 2 years, and the liner slowly deteriorated because of the sun, the exposure. So we went ahead and I pulled the old liner off, and I surrounded it with Lexan plastic sheeting, which worked out really well. It did tighten the structure up a little bit. I had to go around and basically frame the greenhouse out of 1x1s first, and then tied the 1x1s into the metal bars, and then tied the Lexan plastic into the wood. And originally at the front of it I was just going to do plastic, and after looking at it, that's when I decided, it needs something different. You can see there I nailed it in wrong, and it was actually crooked, so I had to come back and fix it. And I'm using a level now just to make sure these next 3 are square, so I can get the top of it square, pretty much. And, you know, like I said, everything is just pretty much eyeballed. I'm not too concerned about the overlap. I want it to overlap a little bit, but not too great. It's not structurally integrity or anything like that. It's more for show. And this wood will actually age pretty well if I want it to darken up. If I don't want to darken up, I think I'm just going to put some lacquer on it and keep it that color. I kind of like the lighter color of the wood versus the darker color when it ages. Here I am finishing up the last bit here on the right side of the building. And today I'm actually going to be building the door. I'll try to film that as well. The door is going to be a little unique, I think. I'm trying to make it unique is what I'm trying to do. I'm giving it basically some curb appeal. Now that we have all this extra land, and we're starting the nursery and the greenhouse, we really wanted to, I really wanted to spruce it up a little bit, make it a little unique, a little bit different. Just an ordinary looking greenhouse. You can see there I'm verifying that I got the right height on everything. And here I'm just double checking again, making sure everything's level. And now I'm looking at my work like, hey, I did a good job. And doing it again, making sure. Because like I said, I was trying to visually see it in my head on how I was going to do it. And then make sure that it was going to match up properly. And that's what I'm doing here. These are real little itty bitty ones that I'm cutting out to get to the top of the door frame. I don't know why that's there. I guess I must have walked into the camera. So I got those cut. I was going to overlap them. I was like, but when I measured, I didn't take in consideration the overlap, and so I made them even there. And then the next one will overlap on top of it, which worked out really well. So then it gave it a different look towards the top, and I just tacked it in there so I could make sure it was level, and then marked it because I am working by myself, and then just pried it out, took the little brad nails out. It worked out really well that way. Good trick to keep in mind when you're building stuff. So there I'm just cutting basically the corners, and now I'm measuring, make sure it's level, and then brad nail it in. And then I got the very top piece. This one I had to do a couple pieces. When I put it in, it kind of didn't work out like I thought it would.
Alright,
here's the finished part.
The side pieces and the top there.
Which I thought was really good.
I'm going to start adding some more stuff.
Hope you enjoyed the video, guys. More to come.
I'm doing some ivy.
Thanks for watching.
Out of wood and maybe fasten it at the top. Not sure yet. And then do the door.